Greetings. Now I will be talking about the example set I did build there. I did set myself some minimal markers and restrictions. I wanted to stay on a 10 million budget, and I wanted to achieve or to hit minimal markers I deem to be able to still play higher MPs, like MP 8 or 9, and to have enough sustain to survive there, and to get enough stats to still be able to MP5 Uber solo. And apart from that, I just tried to squeeze out as much DPS as possible. And so for that I just went with a two-hand weapon setup, because on a set budget and especially on lower budgets, two-hand weapons just provide the most DPS possible. And the nice thing about that is two-hand weapons, if it's not a scorn, are generally underrated and underpriced. For example, the Warmonger. I personally deem it the best low-budget weapon. If you can live with going with a little bit slower setup for attack speed and to gear a bit towards it. It just provides the best DPS possible on a low budget. Of course you can go with a rare, but the Warmonger just provides all the stats you want to have on a two-hand weapon on a low budget, so I just went with that. It has fast attack speed, fastest possible for a two-hand weapon, and it has lifesteal as well on it by default, so that makes it really easy to get the two other random rolls the Warmonger got sorted with the stats you want to have, like the high dexterity and high critical hit damage. So yeah, that was just my pick there, and I will just go by slot now. I specifically chose to go with a poison setup because of the Diablo3 Visage. There are several options for helms as high-end. The most common ones are three. The Member of Twilight. The Member of Twilight can or has a default attack speed roll and can roll critical hit chance as well, so you get 2 damage modifiers. The Diablo3 Visage is similar to that, has an default attack speed roll and can roll critical hit chance. It just can't have a socket additionally or so, but yeah, you get an extra damage modifier there, and it's very cheap. It's only for poison resist though, so I went along with the poison resist setup just to gain more DPS there. On the chest, I went with the Tyrasha's chest. That one got attack speed on it as well as a default roll, so I just tried to get an additional damage modifier there. That was just my reason to pick Tyrasha's. The other option would be to go with the inner chest. That's a more balanced setup, or if you go for more defenses, maybe the Blackthorn chest. Of course you can just go with rares or other legendaries like the Cinder Coat, but in the end it normally comes down to the 3 chests, inner, Tyrasha or Blackthorn, depending on what you prefer, DPS, balance or defense. On the helm, I forgot to mention the inner helm, of course. That's a very decent helm for even for lower budgets. So if you are not a poison monk, or if you don't, or if you want to have a socket as well, the inner helm is just a very decent pick there. For the belt and for the pants, I went with a two-part inner setup to just gain more dexterity there, and the inner belt got an additional affix, adds 8% to holy damage. So yeah, that was just my DPS choice there. And the critical hit chance, it's just 1%, but it adds up. And yeah, that was my pick just for the DPS there. The pants got attack speed by default and critical hit chance. So yeah, just adding more to my damage modifiers there. That's the reason I picked the inner pants and belt as two-part setup, and because the helm was already used up by the Endeavor's Visage. So for the boots I went with the Zunimasa boots because of the added poison damage there. That's just an affix that scales very well, and well, of course for the movement speed, and yeah, but I was mostly interested just in the damage modifier to add poison damage, which from the belt and the additional damage from the belt, holy damage, and the poison damage from the boots scale very well with the Warmonger, because as you can see it's a black weapon. It has min-max damage modifiers and no elemental or magic damage modifiers, so I get the most benefit out of the added percentage damage there. So yeah, that was just my picks to get or decisions to get more damage modifiers. The other slots, the rares, I kinda yeah, just added as much damage modifiers as possible for the budget, but tried to compensate for slacking on defenses on the other slots. So for example, the to really gain 600 resist still, you need to get some resist somewhere. For the Tyrannosaurus chest, I had to slack on resist, on the belt as well, because with the resist that would have been too expensive. I went with resist on the pants. I got somewhat cheap ones, but they were still the most expensive buy from the complete set. But I had to gain resist somewhere, and I already gained quite some resist on the other slots already. The Zunimasa boots, to be honest, at the end I almost gave up on trying to get them. As you can see, they got the wrong resist, but they were just the cheapest one I could get at the end there. I will talk a bit about the prices when I go to my auction completed list there. So as you can see, on the amulet I just went with one damage modifier, and this is the thing about if you are on a budget. If you add a damage modifier, you normally have a price jump on the item. For example, if I have an amulet with just one damage modifier, it's quite cheap. If I add, for example, critical hit damage, their price jumps. So you jump from a plateau to a plateau, so to speak. And if you stay on a lower plateau, to call it like that, so just go with one damage modifier, you can normally get higher rolls there and a lot of additional other stats for a low budget. So as I needed to compensate for slacking on vitality and on resist on the places where you normally want to get it, like the chest and pants and belt, I tried to compensate with the amulet there. As you can see, I got a lot of vitality there, some decent poisoned and armor, and even a very decent amount of dexterity. And you will see I got that for very cheap, and still got nice critical hit chance. So yeah, that's a thing about when you work on a budget. Sometimes it's worth more to skip on a damage modifier, but get a lot of additional other stats. Of course, if I didn't have set myself some minimal markers for defenses, I just would have went with more damage modifiers. But yeah, I wanted to hit some decent defenses there, so yeah, I just went with one damage modifier and got additional high other stats there. With the bracers, it's the same, but well, you can get only crit chances as damage modifiers anyways, so and crossing the 100 dexterity tends to be expensive, so I wasn't losing out too much damage there anyways with going dual resist and vitality, but it got still a bit expensive because dual resist on bracers gets priced a bit high, but I had to gain resist somewhere, and yeah, the bracers were just my pick there. On the gloves, because I got already quite much attack speed and the Warmonger only got 188% critical hit damage. I stretch out a bit in the critical hit damage direction on my building my cube there. So I went with a 2 damage modifier setup to be able to gain higher stats on the other ones, because going with a trifecta I would have needed to triple down on dexterity and all the other stats. So I went with high 2 damage modifiers, critical hit chance, as the obvious choice for sweeping winds, and then critical hit damage for the cubic building, and high dexterity, or well, high considering for the budget. And even though it did cost me quite a lot to get vitality here, I needed it. Getting more vitality on the bracers just would have made the price explode, so that was the highest I could get there within the time and the budget. So I added some vitality to the gloves. It did cost me a lot more than I would have to pay for gloves without vitality, but I just needed it to get close to my target there. So the rings, yeah, I basically went with 2 classic damage modifiers, attack speed. Attack speed really just because it's the lower price option. Attack speed on the rings is as I found, a very cheap affix. The combo with attack speed and critical hit damage is, as I found, the cheapest possible on rings if you go with 2 damage modifiers, and quite often you can sneak in average damage there as well. So yeah, I went with a 2 classical damage modifier setup here, critical hit chance and attack speed here, and made sure I get some nice average damage there as well, and other stats I wanted to have, like resist and somewhat decent dexterity. If you cross 100 dexterity, that gets priced really high, so yeah, I just stayed below 100 dexterity and got some decent other damage modifiers, yeah. Just 2, and got higher stats otherwise to yeah, put my budget on a better bang there to get much more out of it. So yeah, now we'll show about the prices. You will see that the amulet is very low price, and the warmonger as well. So the warmonger I use for the set here, I did buy quite a long time ago. I have to look that up, and so sorry for taking a bit longer here, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So that warmonger, as you can see it like 1 month ago, for 2k. I considered that a really good snipe there. So I wasn't sure if I should allow myself to use it. What I did then was I made some kind of validation buy from a quite similar warmonger, and yeah, that wasn't a snipe. That was for 36 hours. I just got it with bidding for 24k. For 36 hours nobody wanted that, to take it for more than this. So I considered it very much acceptable to still use the other one I bought a longer time ago. So yeah, that's about the warmonger. And so yeah, that was my first buy of the set, the Endurance Visage, for 40k. So after that I tried to get some decent bracers with double resist. As you can see, I was outbid there, but I tried to stay on a budget there. The shoulders I just bought for 200k, just as said, as to get some defensive stats sorted there. And then I tried to get my 2-part inner getting done with poison resist. Initially I got outbid there a lot, and I also tried to get the Tyresha's chest already, but got outbid. Yeah, that kind of gloves with that high critical hit damage, vitality and dexterity not gonna happen on the budget. I tried it anyways. So I ended up buying this chest for 2 million per buyout. I've seen similar ones going with bid for 1.5 million, but I just picked it anyways. Yeah, getting more outbid on the temperance. And there's the amulet. As you can see, I got that for less than 11k. For 36 hours. Nobody wanted to take it for more than that. So you can get a lot of additional stats just by staying with 1 damage modifier there. So, and yeah, that's the reason I prefer to just stay with critical hit chance on amulets, because it gets really expensive if you just add critical hit damage or something. Yeah, that was my validation buy of the warmonger there. Yeah, another fail for the gloves. And yeah, there were the bracers I bought for 1.2-ish million per bid. So yeah, another outbid on the temperance. So I tried really a lot there. That's quite a nice price for this ring I got there. So 263k around, and then I just bought that with buyout, the gloves. Decent pick. I could get similar gloves for about 500k if I waited it, if I don't go with vitality, but I really needed it to hit the target of 35k HP there. So yeah, I just did buy it. Another fail on, and yeah, now I started to try to get the Numesa boots. The inner pants I got now for about 2.8 million. That was not a well thought buy, to be honest. I just came back to the auction house, scouted it, and they were on less than 1 minute, and I just yeah, just rushed it and placed a bid on that and got them. So to be honest, I'm not sure if I could have gotten them cheaper with being a bit more careful there, or to get more bang for my buck with going for resist on the belt and not the pants. But yeah, then the money was spent, so I was, yeah, strapped down. So I went with Inner's Favor belt with strength, so to gain a bit more armor there and to get it cheap. Any other stat was just too high priced. At this point I intended to use some older rings I bought. This one was just a replacement buy. So, and where's the next? Oh yeah, I did buy myself some shinies there for my Tempest Brush build for the fire main gear I got. So yeah, if you go with close to perfect decks on the Zunimasa boots, you can get only 200 decks there. As you can see, it gets a bit more expensive there. So yeah, some more outbid on the boots. So by now, I already got every slot, kinda, apart from 1 ring, which I intended to use an older ring I bought for 200k, and that was just a replacement for the 200k ring, because it was one of another set. And so it was down to 1 ring and the boots, and I had about 1.3 million to spend there. I really tried to stay on target with the 10 million there to get the Numesa boots, but that was really hard. As you can see, I got outbid all the time, and yeah, at some point I just gave up and just bought decent boots for 100k, and then I thought, okay, I can just blast the remaining budget on a decent ring, and I was really surprised. This ring is amazing for about 50k, and yeah, I had 1.2 million to spend still on the ring. I completely did place a last second bid there with a complete budget left, and I got it for 50k. So I was like, okay, let's try to get the Zunimaster boots anyways to well squeeze out the last bit possible DPS. I allowed myself to get a bit over budget there and just bought this once here. I ended up with in the end then, and yeah, the other stuff that comes after that is some set buildings for my giveaway from the new year there. So yeah, that's about the 10 million budget set there, and why I did pick a certain stat distribution there to get the most out of my budget. In any case, I would never ever build a set like that for someone on a small budget normally, because I personally really prefer to have better mitigation and so on. But that was really just to showcase how to build DPS and still maintain the lowest minimal markers for mitigation and sustain. So I really wouldn't recommend to anyone to try to build a set like that if he wants to go for higher MPs, because it's at least for me not fun to play with that low mitigation. It's possible. I did record a short MP9 clip, you can see in my channel, with a key warden run on Act 1. But if you slip up one time, you're toast normally, with because you get just spiked down so easy. It's able to make it work. It got enough effective DPS to heal yourself with the lifesteal and to kill stuff properly, even on MP9. In a sense, I did reach about 100k DPS there, and it's not really suited for MP9, but it's okay enough. So yeah, but as said, I wouldn't recommend to build a set like that. So yeah, this is or these are the stats I did achieve then in the end. Since I did build the set, I did level up a 1 Paragon. Back then I did achieve 100.5k DPS. I came close enough to my targets to call it acceptable with 590 resists. Close enough to 35k HP, and I overachieved on the armor there. So and yeah, completely unbuffed, no follower. So yeah, the stain I got there, the 5.7% lifesteal, it is enough to kill MP5 Ubers. I did a test run. In any case, you want to see it, just put a comment up, so I can just upload the clip, but I didn't deem it necessary to bore you with another Uber kill there. And I did record a short clip doing an Act 1 key warden run on MP9 with exactly the set. So yeah, you can check out if you deem it good enough to survive on MP9. It got enough effective DPS to kill goblins there. I did some test kills on Asmodan. I did achieve about 800k effective DPS, which is not too bad. It helps to have a high damage range on the weapon. For the Warmonger here it's 80-136 to 1k74. So this is a high damage range your Sweeping Wind and Fist of Thunder damage scales from. So this is beneficial for your effective DPS to have a two-hand weapon as well. You don't generate as much cyclones there, and I did slack a bit on the critical hit chance, so I don't generate as much cyclones. Yeah, but I deem 800k effective DPS still quite proper enough for a 10 million budget. So yeah, that's just about it, about the statistics I did achieve there with this yeah, budget, and I did explain my decisions there. So I really hope you got a good idea how to build DPS. As said, try to get more resist and more HP. It really will increase your game experience. Also So the level of your game experience is much more fun to be able to slack a bit here and there and not just die every time you have a slight flaw in your cooldown management or get just caught unlucky. So yeah, but I hope I did convey a good picture about how to build DPS and to make you able to build your gear set better and to enjoy the game more then. So yeah, that's it.